The night was ordinary: dark water, steady engines, a ship moving cleanly through open sea. No raised voices, no alarms, no abrupt course changes, nothing to draw attention. Deck lights held their line, the horizon stayed calm, and the ship kept time with the water. By sunrise, one passenger was gone, and the cruise ship never stopped. What happened during this overnight cruise ship disappearance is still unclear. Years later, the answers remain just out of reach. This is the disappearance of Emily Carter. She vanished overnight while the ship was still moving, one of many cases without a clear explanation. Emily was 28, described by friends as thoughtful, calm, and organized. She wasn't reckless, and she wasn't known for taking unnecessary risks. She planned this trip carefully, a rare chance to disconnect from work. It was meant to celebrate a milestone with her family. Emily wasn't traveling alone. She was on board with her younger sister Hannah. The cruise was a celebration they had talked about for months. That night, they had dinner together in one of the ship's main dining rooms. They discussed plans for the next day, breakfast, and a shore excursion later in the week. Nothing about the evening stood out as unusual. After dinner, they returned to their shared cabin. Hannah later said Emily seemed relaxed, neither upset nor distracted. Around midnight, Hannah fell asleep. When she woke up in the morning, Emily was gone. At 2:41 a.m., this camera should have seen everything. The deck was quiet and the lights were steady. No raised voices, no alarms, nothing to suggest an incident. The ship was cutting smoothly through open water. Yet by sunrise, Emily was missing. At first, Hannah didn't panic. Passengers often wake early to walk the decks or watch the sunrise. But as the morning went on, concern slowly replaced routine. Emily's phone was still in the cabin, plugged into its charger. Her shoes were neatly placed near the door. Her purse and identification were untouched. The key card log later showed her card hadn't been used since the night before. The bed on Emily's side appeared undisturbed. There was no note, no message, and no sign she meant to be gone long. Everything suggested she expected to return. The voyage was 4 days in, with over 3,200 passengers and 1,100 crew, calm weather, and no reported technical issues. By all accounts, an ordinary night at sea. The last confirmed sighting of Emily Carter occurred at 2:41 a.m. A crew member later told investigators he saw a woman matching Emily's description on deck 10, standing alone near the railing, looking out toward the water. He didn't speak to her, and nothing about her behavior suggested distress. No running, no arguing, no interaction with anyone. Security footage later confirmed her presence on deck 10. The video shows Emily walking slowly across the deck, passing a row of empty chairs, and stopping near a seating area close to the rail. She appears to rest her hands on the barrier briefly and look out into the darkness, then steps out of the camera's view. There is no footage showing her leaving the deck, entering another hallway, or returning to her cabin. That moment remains the last confirmed record of Emily on board. This is where the timeline begins to fall apart. Cruise ships use extensive surveillance systems, operating around the clock. Yet, in Emily's case, there were gaps. Parts of Deck 10 were not fully covered by cameras. Some devices were angled towards seating areas rather than railings, and others had limited visibility during nighttime hours. Night shift monitoring was minimal. No alert was triggered when Emily was last seen on camera, and no one was dispatched to check the area. Because no one reported her missing at the time, the ship continued on its planned route. By the time anyone realized something was wrong, the vessel was already far from where Emily had last been seen. When Emily didn't show up for breakfast, Hannah assumed she'd gone for an early walk or decided to sleep in. By lunchtime, worry set in. Hannah went back to the cabin, checked public areas, and contacted guest services. Security personnel were notified, and a search of nearby decks was initiated. Emily's name was added to an internal report. Crew checked common areas, restrooms, and staff-only zones. Nothing turned up. Hours later, an announcement asked for information about a missing passenger. By that point, valuable time had already passed. Authorities were notified once the internal search failed to locate Emily, but the ship had traveled more than 120 miles. Search and rescue teams were deployed, and nearby vessels were alerted to assist. Aircraft scanned the surrounding waters as crews worked against time and distance. Disappearances at sea present unique challenges: moving water, shifting visibility, and vast search areas. After 2 days, the search was scaled back. No physical evidence was recovered, and none of Emily's belongings were found. As the investigation continued, theories emerged. One was an accidental fall, given the late hour, low lighting, and possible fatigue. But investigators noted the railings met safety standards. And no sensor or alarm indicated someone went overboard. No splash was reported, and no camera captured such an event. Another theory suggested a sudden medical emergency, disorientation or loss of balance. But she had no known conditions, and sought no help that evening. Toxicology results were never available, and without physical evidence, this explanation remained speculative. A third theory involved possible third-party involvement, but no witnesses came forward and no footage showed Emily interacting with anyone. No suspect was identified, and investigators said there was no evidence of foul play. For Emily's family, unanswered questions remained. No body recovered, no full security footage released, and no clear explanation for incomplete coverage or the lack of an immediate alert. Communication was limited, and much relied on internal reports. Over time, the case faded, but not the questions. Were early hours missed? Was the delay decisive? Or did something happen where no one was watching? Emily Carter's disappearance remains unresolved, one of many cases at sea that raise difficult questions about safety and oversight. The ocean, vast and indifferent, rarely gives answers. Somewhere between calm water and morning light, she was lost, and the truth may never fully surface.